I know I'm going to get audited for this, but it's a sincere question. You call the police, they don't come. Your neighborhood's filthy. People live on the sidewalk and nobody cares. Why are you paying your taxes? For real.
Let us understand, North Vietnam cannot defeat or humiliate the United States. Only Americans can do that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 18 of The Moral Minority, the podcast where we skim the headlines so you don't have to. As always, I'm your not-so-humble correspondent, Marcel, and this is my other host, Dan. No, here is my separate but equal host.
See if you can get it out. Go ahead, see if you can get it out.
Here is my host, Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
All right, Dan. What are we going to talk about today? That's right. COVID is out. Racism is in, but also out. And COVID is also kind of in again. How have you been enjoying quarantine? I notice I don't hear anybody saying that they're catching up on Netflix anymore. That's finished.
Those people. Those people. Every time I see one of those people, someone shares what they think is a relatable meme about how, oh my God, I'm just getting caught up on Netflix and eating my, Uber Eats McDonald's. I want to murder those people. It's like the opposite of the preachy self-help people. The people are always like, look at my run I did today, and here's my inspirational quote, and here's a picture of my smoothie I made. And you feel like they're preaching at you about how great their life is. It's like vice signaling. They're going, look at me, I lay around and I watch Netflix and eat junk food. Isn't it fun? I spent 8 hours today playing Switch. I didn't do anything productive.
Yeah, it's partially compliant signaling, I suppose. Or just like, look how obedient I am. But I think that's that's assigning a bit too much malice. Yeah, it's searching for notes. It's just trying to be relatable. And
I'd like to point out, we're not in quarantine, we're in lockdown. Quarantine is when sick people are separated from the rest of society. Lockdown is whatever this fucking thing is. Lockdown is when a prison population is kept in their cells to keep them from being dangerous, which apparently didn't work too well.
Yes. Well, it's a partial lockdown. It's a lockdown except for political purposes. It's borderline impossible to deny that this whole thing is political in nature, even when people were protesting the lockdown months ago, and then because we have to flatten that curve. There's a curve we need to flatten it, and there were nurses out there counter-protesting the protesters, and it's just, if your medical staff is engaging in political activism on the clock, then the curve is flat, right? There's room in the hospital. It's very strange. I mean, I don't even think in like communist countries that if there were an actual pandemic, you'd have medical staff taking time out of their work to go out into the street and chant pro-party slogans. I think that would actually stop.
Yeah, I saw a picture of a giant protest, and someone just captioned it like, "But why am I not allowed to go to the pub?" And then another one was a picture of a giant protest, and it said, "Last week, the dancing TikTok nurses told me I'd kill my grandmother if I had friends over for a barbecue."
And now, you could engage in left-wing political activism, but not right-wing political activism. So if you're protesting against racism, I mean, there was an open letter by 1,200 healthcare professionals.
Racism is a public health issue that's more important.
Yeah, racism is a public health issue.
This gets back to something we were talking about off camera, off mic, and off camera for the gold subscribers. Was that this Thomas Sowell point from Knowledge and Decisions about freedom from hunger and stuff, and he says, just because food is important and it's a high value does not mean that food and access to food is a kind of freedom. It's a different thing from freedom. And just because racism is bad, that doesn't make it a kind of disease. Right? You can say, well, diseases are bad, racism are bad, they're two different things. We don't put the nurses in charge of solving racism because it's not a disease. But because at the moment we're living in this like therapeutic state where everything's subordinate to quote unquote the expert science, doctor, etc. view, the medical view. Therefore, because racism is bad, we can't just say, well, COVID is serious, but racism is serious too. And maybe sometimes it's worth taking a little more health risk because there's bigger problems than getting sick, like injustice. No, they have to say, actually, COVID is a virus, but racism is a virus too. So therefore, they're the same thing. So therefore, you can get together in a group of 20,000 without a mask because they cancel each other out or something. These are the scientists.
Yeah, listen to this. This is from the open letter. Stay at home, social distancing, and public masking are effective at minimizing the spread of COVID-19. To the extent possible, we support the application of these public health best practices during demonstrations that call attention to the pervasive lethal force of white supremacy. However, as public health advocates, we do not condemn these gatherings as risky for COVID-19 transmission. We support them as vital to the national public health and to the threatened health specifically of Black people in the United States. We can show that support by facilitating safest protesting practices without detracting from the demonstrators' ability to gather and demand change. This should not be confused with a permissive stance on all gatherings, particularly protests against stay-at-home orders. Those actions not only oppose public health interventions, but are also rooted in white nationalism and run contrary to respect for Black lives. Protests against systemic racism, which fosters a disproportionate burden of COVID-19 on Black communities and also perpetuate police violence, must be supported.
All right, let me shake the Etch-a-Sketch again here. And I can remember way back in early March when Trump was talking about closing flights from China. I don't know if you can remember March. Remember March? We were so much younger then. So that was when Trump was saying, COVID's very serious. We have to not allow people to fly here from China. And then the official story was,
don't be racist against Chinese people.
People worried about coronavirus are racist. Go hug a Chinese person. Then 3 hours later, they said coronavirus is the most important thing in the world, actually. And lack of concern about it is racist because it's killing Black people at a higher rate, which is I still don't know. I've still never seen any data on that, but I assume it's true because everyone says it, so therefore it's got to be true. And then 3 hours after that, people protested, and it became, protesting is racist in and of itself because it's killing Black people. And then an hour and 15 minutes later, it was, now if you don't go to a protest, that's racist. Your white silence is violence.
That silence is violence thing is amazing because, so this is a minor tangent. So everybody's been making, statements, in favor of Black Lives Matter. And one company that didn't is Valve, the gaming company. And some indie game developers pulled their games off of Valve saying that even though they made statements against racism, bravely, of course, because we live in a white supremacist country after all, they said, I don't want to be complicit in Valve's silence.
Okay, so here's the trap about the silence thing. Like, this is one of your classic traps, Marcel, that you guys use on us. Intellectuals, I mean.
Of course.
It's that classic, like, there's nothing you can do to win because because the game is called you lose. So, like, if you move out of this neighborhood, well, then you're engaging in white flight.
Yeah, it's white flight versus gentrification.
And a million other things. If I walk into the store and a person does not immediately greet me, that's because they think I don't have money and they're racist. And if they do come up and say, hey, how can I help you? It's because they think I'm going to shoplift, so they're just policing me. So there's actually no, there's no interaction with me you can have. That
just die quietly, Dan. I don't know what we intellectuals need to keep telling you. Just die quietly.
Yeah, so there's no interaction you can have with me that doesn't just prove my preconceived notion of you, which is that you're like a moral reprobate. The thing about like your silence is violence. I'm going to get up and protest, and then you say, hey, I don't really agree. And I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up because this is a time for me. No, I say shut the fuck up because you're wrong. Everything you say that's against me is wrong. Then you go, no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm on your side. Like, I posted a black square, and I'm all down for the cause and all that. And I go, well, okay, why don't you shut the fuck up and take a back seat because it's time to amplify my voice and let me be heard.
Amplify, yes. White people have a duty to amplify Black voices.
Oh, yeah, sure. I was just trying to help, but yeah, if you want me to shut up, I'll shut up. So then I shut up, and 3 seconds later I go, you haven't made a peep in a while. What, do you not support me? What, are you not on my team? And you go, oh, no, you told me to, you said to be, I was trying to take a back seat. And then before I even finish my stuttering apology, it's like, hey, why don't you shut the fuck up and take a back seat and stay in your lane?
You're supposed to be clapping. You say.
I don't know what you're supposed to be doing, because if you clap, then it's going to be like, hey, you're drowning out my screaming into a megaphone. There's no way to even be an ally if you wanted to be, which, dubious. But if you wanted to be, it's just said, hey, I'm down. I'm on the team. What can I do? Put me in, coach. They go, what you can do is ride the bench. And you go, okay, fine, I'll ride the bench. And they go, get the fuck off the bench. What are you doing sitting there? You think you can just sit on the sidelines? I'm dying out here. And you're like, well, what can I do? So I'm asking you, Marcel, what can we do?
What I need you to do, Dan, is amplify my voice. Okay? I need my voice amplified. We need to be louder.
If I turn my mic down, I can't amplify yours. I can diminish my
turn your mic down, but keep talking. But really, more of an echo. Really, just echo what I say. It's kind of like a call and response. Like, I say the slogans, and then you respond to the slogans in the pre-approved way. That's what we need you to do.
So when people talk about political correctness, like the argument against that would be to say, every society has had its taboos, received wisdom, and the sort of opinions that right-thinking people have versus the ones that nobody has. But like, it's so explicit. It's certain slogans. It's certain like directives. There really are like planks in a party platform. This is the party line. I was riding my bicycle in my new town that I live in. And right in front of the fire station, there's one of those big digital like signboards, that gives out public information. So it will say something like, this lane is closed or whatever. And then when they don't have anything pertinent, they usually just put like buckle your seatbelts or something like that on there. And it was blinking at rapid speeds. And at 1 minute it said Black Lives Matter. And then it switched and it said something about LGBT Pride Month. And then it said wear a mask. And then it blinked again and it said social distance, 6 feet, whatever. There's so many.
I have to make sure you saw every single new party slogan.
Here's the 12 things you have to be thinking right now. Boom, 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 boom. And if you forget one, you're like, wait a minute.
You racist, you were driving too fast to read them all.
Yeah, you're driving, you're like, wait a minute, I got to pull over, I need a pen. It's like, okay, so Black Lives Matter.
It's probably good for public safety. It made you slow down while you drove.
So there's like this list of shit you have to not only have in your head, but it's like you have to be parroting it to be a good citizen at all times. Walk around, I guess, with a not even a notepad, because the things keep changing. It would have to be like either an Etch-a-Sketch or like some sort of dry erase, like a mini dry erase board that you carry around with you, and it's got like 12 lines on it, so you can keep changing your commandments. Because right now our commandments are wear a mask, 6 feet apart, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, and then next week it's going to be Arbor Day, wear a mask or don't wear a mask, or whatever the new thing is, hug a Chinese. Whatever.
It's Juneteenth. Don't forget.
Juneteenth. Yes, of course. How could I forget Juneteenth? Because every year we celebrate Juneteenth. All of us do.
We've always celebrated Juneteenth, Winston.
Yeah, exactly. You know what my favorite little factoid that I learned about Juneteenth? And in that sense, I would say Juneteenth is doing its job. It's teaching us history. Juneteenth is to celebrate in Galveston, Texas, when the Union Army marched in and said, hey, we're in, even though, 3 months ago. I don't know if you guys
have heard.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
That war we were fighting, it was actually over slavery, so you guys got to stop.
Yeah. So they ended slavery, and that was the last place in the Confederacy that had slavery. The idea is, therefore, this was the end of slavery in the United States. Oh, wait a minute, no. It took another 3 years before slavery ended in the Union states.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Isn't that funny? And we're trying to make a historical celebration of freedom, an anti-slavery day, not on the day that slavery was ended in the United States, but on a day that it was ended specifically in the South, but not in the North.
On this letter, I might as well point out one thing. Again, it doesn't matter, but I feel like it does. In a normal world, it would, but it doesn't. The left really needs to calm down with calling everything white nationalism. I know that's like a very highly developed, big-brained, right-wing take. Is like, did you know the left calls a lot of things racist? But at a certain point, you're like, listen, do you want to live in a safe and secure society? That's white nationalism. Like, do you enjoy like peace, prosperity, quiet, being able to go outside? White nationalism. Do you like? you better chill. All right, I'm just saying that this is not